Xbox has been in the news as of late, and not in a good way. So, yesterday, Xbox's Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty spoke with us about the future of Xbox as a whole. Many of you may already know this, but the rumor mill has been in full swing for the last few weeks as it relates to Xbox, exclusives, consoles, and the future of the brand in general. Those rumors ranged from current Xbox exclusives being added to Nintendo and PlayStation to Xbox getting out of the console business altogether. Crazy thought? Yes, but it didn't stop the rumors from running wild. Some people took these rumors so seriously that they were literally getting angry and destroying their Xboxes. To that I say, let's just calm the fuck down, because there is no need for that level of crazy for any console. I have seen many consoles come and go in my day, and not once did I flip out and lose my mind over it. This is why I remained calm and refused to report on it. I knew that the rumors were most likely false, and I was right. It got to the point where Phil Spencer had to let everyone know that they were planning on holding an event to let everyone know what is going on. That event happened yesterday, and Phil started it off with a statement.
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So, as Phil said, they are only taking 4 games to other platforms, meaning PlayStation and Nintendo. I want to be clear on this. It will end up being both, and the reasons are pretty clear as Phil spelled those out. Now, you might be still thinking, but Kane, why would they want to bolster their competition? To that I say, Xbox is a publisher, first and foremost, which means they make their money from game sales. This also means that there are more places that the games can be purchased and played, the more money they make. Xbox, and Microsoft for that matter, are not non-profit organizations. They are in the business to make money, and the more they can make, the better. I realize that exclusives are what drives consumers to buy consoles, but that takes a back seat to the higher potential revenue of game titles being sold elsewhere. Xbox is happy to say that they don't care about the perceived console wars because they simply don't exist except in the minds of a few fans. That said, there are these 4 games that have yet to be named, and they are no longer going to be exclusive. Now, Phil did not say which games they were, but he did say what games they are not.
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
So they are not Starfield or the soon-to-be-released Indiana Jones title. Phil did not want to spill the beans on what the games will be, but I have my suspicions. I am confident that one of the 4 games will be Hi-Fi Rush, and I can see Pentiment also being one of the 4 games, though I'm not as confident about that game. For sure Hi-Fi Rush, as that one really does make sense in this situation. It is a perfect fit for Nintendo, and since it would be going there, why not cash in on PlayStation while they're at it? Phil went on to explain why they are doing this.
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for the communities, more players to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. But games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
Now, I did find it interesting that Phil made a clear distinction about the 4 games. 2 of them are smaller games, and the other 2 are community games. The community games are the really interesting part because, to me, it sounds like they are live service games or games that get regular expansions. This could mean games like Halo or Sea of Thieves, though I somehow doubt Halo will be one of those games. Sea of Thieves, on the other hand, could make sense because, again, it would be a great fit for Nintendo, and if they're going to go do that, then PlayStation would certainly be in the works too. Remember, this is all about growth for Xbox in terms of revenue, and they do need a new influx of cash. They have been spending big money to get all of these first-party studios under their umbrella, and they need to be able to recoup that cost somewhere. The event continued on with more talk about how Xbox is going to grow with first-party games and Game Pass. Matt Booty and Sarah Bond took the reins on this one.
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Yeah,
and that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the two key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox, the Xbox experience, and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
As we just heard, cross-play and cross-save is a huge focus for Xbox, and this one is a major pain point for gamers because when we do play those big multiplayer games, we want to be able to play with our friends no matter what platform they're on. Cross-save is another big one because it will allow us to play on different systems without having to start over. Then Sarah drops the hammer, announcing that the Activision library is headed to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4. That is a big add for Game Pass subscribers. Phil then spoke about how this really isn't as big a change in strategy as people thought it was.
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. If you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get to play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like we've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
Phil really knows how to articulate the meaning behind his words, so much so that I don't even need to add anything to create understanding. That said, without all of the extras, Xbox's goal is to make sure gamers can play the games that they love anywhere and everywhere. The next big part of this event talked about the games and how they can grow with Xbox. Matt and Sarah spoke about this.
Well, as Phil mentioned, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Palworld. You know, Palworld was able to launch, they were a game preview, they launched in Game Pass, they also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success, and it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview. We have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
Matt really hit the nail on the head. I don't buy into the whole console wars or fanboy stuff because it really doesn't make any sense. Sure, there are those people out there, but I think they are really in the minority. Most people are simply invested in certain platforms because it is where they already have a bunch of games. Personally, I see the whole exclusivity piece as already dying. Even Sony is realizing this as they are starting to put out games on PC as well. I do think it will take longer for Sony to fully embrace, as they historically are slow to change. Honestly, I think exclusivity will most likely be completely dead within the next 5 to 10 years. It just doesn't make sense to restrict your potential income from a game release when it could be much more lucrative to just put it out everywhere. Consoles are not just going to disappear as long as they have that sustained growth on the software side. Sega failed to see this when they were in the console business, and they ended up being forced out by both Nintendo and Sony. The only reason Nintendo is sustainable is because they adapted to the changing market and made sure that their consoles became more portable by first slimming them down and then literally making them fit in your hand. Now Xbox is trying to lead the market into a new era where games are played everywhere regardless of the console. Only time will tell if this strategy will pay off in the end. For now, I would like to hear your thoughts. Do you think this is a good move for Xbox? Are you excited to learn which games will be in this set of 4 games? What games do you think they are? Sound off in the comments below. While you're at it, like, subscribe, and share. And as always, I'm just glad you stopped by, and I'll see you in the next one.